Welcome to the 8 Billion Project, where we're on a mission to make an impact by discovering and sharing the purpose of every person on this planet. I'm your host, Lisa Florida. Enjoy today's episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 8 Billion Podcast. I am your host, Lisa Florida, and today we've got an extra special guest. She is brand and business architect, fusing spirituality and strategy to help women design their business from their true identity and gain the clarity to scale from the soul with divine love. Welcome, Deborah O'Grady, to the
Hi
8 Billion
there.
Podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. I loved chatting with you the other day. So yeah, it's amazing what you're doing. It's awesome.
No, thank you so much. I'm super excited, audience. That's why I was like really tongue twisted when I was reading her bio, because when Deborah and I met in our first meeting, it was just insane. It was absolutely fascinating, the things that we're pulling up. So I am really excited to connect with her again and then actually share this on the podcast.
Awesome.
Now, Deborah, why don't we start with this? Why don't you let the audience know what you do? I know this was just a brief introduction and I kind of messed it up. So why don't I have you explain?
Well, oh gosh. Okay. So my business has evolved so much because I've evolved so much. And it's something that I really want to help other entrepreneurs because there's a different energy. We all know that the earth is vibrating at a very different frequency now. And so we kind of don't want this, all the sales pages, the email sequences, the grind, hey, I'm living my best life, but yet I'm behind a laptop, kind of all the hours. And there needs to be a different energy, and we need to start working more in alignment. And so I help people, first of all, understand as a woman, like, what do you really want? What do you really want? Because I think a lot of the times we're so busy in doing a job or building a business. We're a mother, we're a wife often. Like, what do we want? Right. That's where we need to start from. Like, and who are we? Who are we at our very core? And if we start navigating and working in our business from our soul, from our very core of who we are, then it's going to be a success. Of course, it's going to be a success, especially when you fuse it with strategy. So I do the strategy, I do the inner work, and that's what creates success for sure.
Right. No, okay. So to the audience, what really drew me also to Deborah's story was that her husband, and her daughter all had this awakening at the same time. And typically what you're going to find is that in family dynamics, one like spouse or partner is going through it. They went through it together and then completely revamped their life. Then she went into coaching. And Deborah, you are also an intuitive, or
yeah. So when I think from being at a really young age, I could kind of feel things, and sometimes when I was younger, I'd had like little conversations to myself, and it was something I actually went into a marketing agency and I worked kind of in a very different industry, and that was part of myself that I didn't accept. It was part of myself that I didn't fully embody because it just felt weird. And yet every time I was working with clients, for like years, I'm kind of, oh, you need to be this way, not this way, or this program I don't think is going to work, but what if you did this program? And I'm kind of shape shifting and seeing things all the time. And so when I started working with these spiritual teachers, and they were like, Deb, you're totally being guided. You're so connected. This is not, you need to own it. And it was a real transition for me, because part of me didn't actually want to own it, because I didn't want to put that label on me. Right. Yet we all can tap into that intuition. Imagine if this world we all led from something other than our mind. Imagine if we made had relationships and businesses and friendships and brought our children up in this way
Right.
where we were just like, this kind of, I know it doesn't sound right, but it feels right. I've got to take her out of school. I kind of need to leave this relationship. Yeah, but it's good on paper, but it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So I think, this really came up for me when I started working with these spiritual teachers. I had to go through some really harsh releasing of past behaviors, looking back at everything that's happened to me. And my husband was like, hey, I want to do this, which is quite a surprise, seeing as though I spent hours in my bedroom crying. And then my daughter, who was 11 at the time, basically was like, what are you guys doing? What is this thing? It sounds like you're kind of creating these like magical powers.
And how old was your daughter at the time?
11.
11. Okay.
Yeah, 11. And so we start, and so there was, I found somebody who, they actually specialized in spiritual awakening with kids. And so I was like, hey, Maya, these people, I've had a chat with her. She's amazing. If you want to learn more, it's down to you. And actually, I'm going to give you her WhatsApp number and I'm going to step away because this has to be if you want to do it. And she did. And so all three of us were, for about a good year, we all had our own coach and we were constantly on WhatsApp creating new perspectives about what had been. So relationships with parents, things that have happened to us. I mean, luckily Maya didn't have that many, but kids can be cruel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and so
yeah.
she's like, oh my God, my friend said that because she was hurting. And actually what was going on, and I felt that and I sensed that. And so she's growing up with a whole new navigation system because
Yes.
she can see her and she can see others and she knows the outside world it's not about her. Things that happen to her are happening around her, but they're not happening to her as such, so
Yeah.
it was tough. And I think it was one of those things that evolved. It just happened.
Right.
But I mean, to go through something like that, the three of us working through things, but actually we did it in lockdown, so we couldn't really escape from each other. And we couldn't really escape out of the house either because we were at home.
Well, to be honest though, Deborah, that's where a lot of people kind of, especially people circulating right now in this, between in our industry and spirituality, that's where everyone had my awakening was big. It was very intense during lockdown.
Yeah.
And I turned off the news. And instead of watching that, I went out into nature. I walked, I meditated, and I just even had more, awakenings. But going back to your daughter, it's really interesting that you say that. And I want to share this with the audience, because if you are able to raise, if you have really young children, you're able to raise them in that way right now. Like I have my son going to college. He's turning 18 next month, depending on when this is released. And he's going to college. And he's like, well, what am I going to, I was like, well, what are you going to do? And he goes, well, I was like, you could do anything. You can go to college. You cannot go to college. I was like, do you want to do music? Do you want to? And I think it was just so like to have that choice and that freedom was it's still trying to settle with him. I even told him, I said, if you want to go to college for a semester and try it out and not go and take a gap year, do it. Yeah. And I think it's really odd for him, but he has a spiritual base, but not as in-depth as mine. So he's still trying to, figure everything out.
To be fair, I think it's, they still need to be rooted.
Yeah.
That they're still with children that, I think it's hard for children to go through the full awakening. Like Maya at the end, she kind of pulled back from the work and she was like, I'm kind of done. And we were getting feedback on how as we were releasing old patterns, and we were love labeling. So basically we were like, oh my God, that happened and I felt so bad about myself. Oh my God, actually, that was how he saw it. And we kind of loved labeled all our past experiences. And so as you do that, you're getting rid of low stored vibration, and you're hiring your vibration, because you're not carrying this low stored vibration. And Maya got to a point and she said, I'm kind of done now. And her vibration, I can't remember what percentage, but it was like really high. We were working with these teachers who were just phenomenal. And and she said, I need to keep it real. I'm going into high school.
She was saying that.
Yeah. And so, I think it's got to be their choice. And it's also kind of, kids still want to fit in, however enlightened they are, they want to fit in.
For sure.
And so, it was navigating that when it felt good with Maya, and when it didn't feel good with Maya, it's like, okay, I'm kind of pulling back here, because she needs to relate with kids her age. She can't, and so, but how she's being brought up in this kind of conscious environment, she knows that when something happens, it's kind of their stuff.
Yes.
She saw, like we were really going through some tough times, and my husband left corporate. I decided to rip my whole business down. And it was a point where she saw us changing, and she saw the hard times and what we were working through. And instead of going, oh, daddy feels mad, dad's been really mad, or his tone is different, she was like, he's just working through something.
Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference.
It's huge. And like her knowing that wasn't about her, she's not going to carry that on from generation to generation. It's like, she is so free.
Yeah.
And we actually took her out of school, and we homeschooled her, I think for over a year, and we took her off curriculum completely. And it was just the three of us kind of life schooling, while we were taking time out to discover what we wanted, and actually did discover who we were as a couple, and also discover who we were and what we wanted. It was a total reset.
Yeah.
Nothing is the same as it was. Nothing.
Wow. That's incredible. I commend you guys as a family to do that together, because it's possible. And Deborah's an example.
To be fair, I think if we went into it knowing what it would be, we wouldn't have signed up for it. It was one of those things where an event happened, and then another event, and then Jonathan kind of, I want to try what's going on. I'm interested. And all of a sudden he was in it, Maya was in it. And like we said, this was so aligned action, because we can't remember the time that we just went, should we think about it? Should we do it? How's this going to work out? It was just happened. Yeah. And it was part of our journey. And especially now that it's part of my work, and, Jonathan left corporate and retrained to be a coach. He left that world of, the city in London, he just like said, no, I this is not me. And it takes real guts to do that, because you're basically just saying, this, I know who I am and what's going to feed me. And this thing over here, even though it gives me finance and stability and it's what I should do, I'm actually checking out of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going back.
Now, Deborah, could you share with us what actually happened, where this all started? Because in our meeting, you did talk about how you and your husband ended up signing up for something. Either class.
So this happened. I've got a friend who's like it's like she lives in a different universe, and she said, you've got to come to this event. It's online, and it's 30 days of energetic coaching, and it's where you've got to tune into your intuition, and figure things out. And then they're going to give you feedback on whether you're translating and getting the right feedback. And they're going to connect you with guides and this, that, and the other. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then that's when Jonathan was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. But the exercises, that's when I knew how connected I was, because I was just like, it was like I just opened everything up.
It opened up your crown. Yeah, your crown.
It was chakra. Just like, there's this and that. And it was like I'd taken off a pair of glasses.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything and just put a new one on.
Yeah. Or it was dormant and then it woke up.
It was switched. Yeah. They activated something in me without a doubt. And then we had to do exercises every single day, and we got feedback, like crazy exercises. Like we had to be guided, one day was aligned eating. What do I want? Oh, I just need raspberries. Okay, I just need raspberries. And won't I be hungry? No, you just need raspberries. Just ate raspberries all day, no hunger. It was just tuning into, it was so.
Really? It's when you didn't share that with me.
I didn't. That's just a random. And it's basically, we know what we need.
Yes.
The human form of us doesn't. The human form is like, oh, I'm busy, I'm and I put on quite a bit of weight over lockdown. I still have. And that's like my next aligned thing. It's like, I'm going to go back to aligned eating fully. But actually what happened is I kind of going through this awakening, and I really got in touch with desires and what I loved. Like I ate so much cheese. I basically said to myself, I was really strict. I was really strict on exercise. I was such a perfectionist beforehand. I did everything like, if I'm going for it, I'm doing this good. I'm doing this good. I'm going to do this good. And I denied myself a lot of pleasure. Now it's time to realign that. But oh my God, like just enjoying parts of like, oh my God, I just really want to do this. I want to go there. I just really tapped into desires of everything. I guess it's a bit like Eat, Love and Pray, where she just went and eat pasta in Italy for like forever.
You're making me think of food. You're making me think of cheese right now, and I want to eat cheese.
Well, I think what we have to go through things that we're going to teach, and we need to understand it. And I think the mind needs fixing. The fixing is probably not a good word, but we need to work on the mind. We need to work on the soul. And the body takes a while to catch up.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's aligning all those things.
It's absolutely that. It's in other words, it could be like either reprogramming. For me, what I've been working on, because of the energy fields that are going on right now. And I don't know if you feel that though, Deborah. And audience, you're going to hear me say this quite a bit on a lot of my podcasts for this season, because I'm recording March into the beginning of April. So we've hit spring equinox, but there's been a huge shift in energy that's gone on.
It kind of feels there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of renew energy, but actually there's not enough time of settlement before there's another burst of renew. Absolutely. And it's almost like it's going kind of like, okay, it's almost like quantum leaping.
It's absolutely quantum leaping.
To catch us, to basically get us to the place of consciousness of where we should be as humans.
Right.
That's my belief. It's like, I've just gone through a huge kind of reshuffle in my business. And I'm like, yeah, that feels good. Oh no, here comes another wave. And it's like, whoa, I just kind of figured all that out. That was a big thing. Oh, okay. So
there's more.
There's more. Okay, yes. There's another wave. And it's happening to so many clients that I'm speaking to. They're like, it's just
going
crazy.
On like it's massive, Deborah. And I'm actually glad that we're getting to talk about this on the podcast, because even like right now with the people that I'm circulating with, like either mentors or teachers, they're almost saying like, we're reaching these higher levels of consciousness, and you have to surrender to it, because there's so many now that you're attracting, there's so many different choices. And just like what you were saying, you figured one thing out and here's another way, because it's almost like every day our consciousness is collapsing and expanding. And that's why it's quantum leaping.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, people are kind of, I think what people need in their business right now is that understanding of themselves. And then it's that clarity piece, and also aligning, like, what feels good, what feels true, what feels true to you. Does that feel true? And actually, we're so used to doing business here, it's kind of going, does that feel true? Does that feel good to be able to sell that program? No, it actually doesn't. Oh yeah, but my head's saying this, and I can turn it evergreen, and I can do this, and my online business is just gonna. Does it feel true? No. Yeah. Okay, we've got to reshape it, because you can't sell in that energy. You just can't. Yeah. So we need to start creating things in a total different energy. I think there's going to be a whole breed of 5-dimensional entrepreneurs that are navigating business in a way that feels like play.
Yes. No, like, absolutely. That's
and exactly. Almost, and grabbing the energy. Like, I'm going to create this, and this is great. Nothing is going to stay the same.
I'm so glad. That's why I get so excited to talk to you, Deborah, because I'm so aligned with Deborah. Like, even in our meeting where I was kind of explaining what I envisioned of 8 billion, and Deborah could see it, and she was giving me examples of it. But this is what it is to be in the feminine energy, and that's 5th dimensional consciousness is feminine. It's going from that place what feels good. So I still have to keep repeating myself on these podcasts. It doesn't mean that it excludes men or that women are going to rise. It's pulling from the space of love, compassion, kindness. It's pulling from that space that feels good. It's intuition.
Yeah. And love is a huge thing. If you kind of, I don't know, look at things before, the pandemic, were human beings working in love? No. Not many. I mean, I'm not, some people, but like relationships, were they in love? Even declaring what you want is in love. Like saying, hey, there's so many relationships that, just fizzle out because there's no truth there. Relationships, they need to be in true, and you need to love that person wholly to want that love back. We've disconnected from this kinetic energy of love.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, the emails, people send out, I can feel, are they in love? Are they not in love? You go out to a restaurant, I can actually see if something's been made with love. There's a different energy about it. When my husband makes the best meal ever, I'm like, oh my God, what did you put in this? This is amazing. And he'd creatively cooked it with love. It's like, the rice analogy, where, you spoke to the rice. I can't remember the guy's name, but he did an experiment where he really kind of spoke down and said, you're awful, you're ugly to this rice. And then the other one is like, I love you, I love you, I love you. The rice that he spoke really badly to, kind of just, it was rotten. The other one it didn't mold.
It's because everything is energy. We're dropping gems in every episode, guys. Everything is energy. Even a piece of paper is vibrating at a certain,
everything is energy. And I think, this isn't just for spiritual people. This way of living, you need a new navigation system to be able to live in this energy, to know that this is not crazy spirituality. This is not some crazy way of living. This is living here now. It's living here now. And so what our beliefs are, or we need to understand that, how do we live in this energy now? How do we learn to live in this energy? Because it has changed. It's changed everybody to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's true though, to the audience, we all have intuition.
Oh,
It's just
everybody.
there's not one human being that doesn't have intuition. And some people are really tapped into it.
Yeah.
And, and some people, they think they're tapped into it, but there's
Yeah.
still quite a bit of work that has to be done. Now, Deborah,
Yeah.
one of the things that I wanted you to share with the audience also was you were able to remotely heal relationships in your life.
Yeah.
Do you mind
No,
sharing
no,
that? And
no.
you don't have to discuss who it is specifically, but I just wanted to show the audience or share with the audience what's possible.
So, okay. So um, I had a difficult relationship with a family member, and I had to work through understanding my part in that alone. It was like memories, how I'd built up my own opinion of that person and how I felt. And so I carried these beliefs with me all my life, as we do from, parents and teachers. And I started healing my relationship with others. In fact, I healed my relationship with so many people internally. I didn't have conversations with them. It was lockdown. Some of them I'd not seen for so long. And in clearing kind of the low stored vibration, the memories, I had a new perspective and had a new kind of rewiring and an opinion of that person, and all the pain, my opinions, my beliefs had just gone. And what was left was love and compassion, love and compassion. And then out of lockdown, the people that I had tricky relationships with, they were different, all of them, because I'd cleared it, I'd healed. But in healing me, I'd healed that with them,
Right.
because my energy. So, when we're hurt, if we want love or we're hurt, there's an energy field that is pushing, or shielding. There's some kind of energy we give off that goes, you hurt me, or don't hurt me, or
Right.
but obviously that wasn't there. And so, if we want to change other people, we change us first, and we change
Yes.
our relationship with that. We change our relationship with them without even seeing them
Yeah.
first. And it's clearing it, but also they healed, because you are creating this energy. Like, you can distant heal easy, because you're kind of feeling into their energy. Like, if anybody feels right now into the energy of somebody, especially somebody you're close with, you get a feeling. I can just feel into my daughter's energy now, and it's fun, it's light. You can, and then you feel into different people's energy. We all can do this.
Yep.
And so if you're feeling into their energy, there's got to be something kind of going on.
Right. No kidding. Right.
So yeah, that was kind of crazy how everything changed within me, which then changed our relationship without them doing any self development or any spirituality or any work on themselves. This is
And
what,
without you actually having to physically.
and I didn't have any conversation. I didn't have any conversation, because this was the stuff that I needed to deal with for me. And I think this is what we need to, there's so much work, inner work, that is sold there, where you kind of, it's counseling, and you need to get the two people together and, work it through. Actually, you don't always have to work it through.
Yeah.
You don't have to always work it through. It's changing you and your perspective. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting how when you shift your energy field and perspective inside, it can shift everything else outside. That's why they say go inside and do the work, do the inner work, and your whole, your whole outer world or the 3D world will change.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I never, I've run my own brand agency. I've had a really successful career, and never, I, I never really noticed trees and flowers and nature, and I never really stood still and captured things. Trees, oh my God, trees are like my savior. Energetically, I can feel the strength, and like trees are just so symbolic because they just stand there. The branches are out,
Right.
they're wavering, but they don't come unstuck. They're deeply rooted.
No, absolutely. It's interesting that you say that. Just this last week, I go walking next to the beach and there's a park and there's beautiful, huge trees. I see them all the time. And for the first time, something told me, go touch the trunk. And I did it 2 days in a row. And literally when I put my hand on the trunk, I could feel the power in it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Mama Gaia or Mother Earth. It's all of that strength. Like when you're
we've lost touch with that. I can't remember how many times, where I've seen beautiful, intricate flowers and I've just walked by them. I've just not seen them. I'm just busy with my life,
right?
Getting on with things, worrying about things that aren't important. And there's this beautiful flower blossoming that's just, it's like everything changes when you change in this way. You see what's important, and you do see things with love. You see things with love first and foremost. And I really want to for business people to start really running their businesses through love. They're not leads. They're a person that when you reach out to them, you're going to really help them.
Yes,
absolutely. We started all running our businesses in this divine love, where we feel love for ourselves, we feel love for what we're creating, we feel love for our clients. It's all love, isn't it?
It is. That's the anchor of this mission, is love. And by having all of you guys with all, and I say this many times, the reason that I brought on all of these guests is that even if we are in respective different fields, coaches, intuitives, speakers, authors, the basis of everyone in this season is leading with love. It's the energetic force that is anchored with all the work that they do. And it literally will change the world. That's why I'm all like, when I got the download from my spirit guides and they were just like, it's not season 5, it's season 5D, Lisa. And I was like, oh, what a brilliant idea.
It's listening to those little nudges.
Right.
And I think sometimes what we do is we hear the kind of nudge or hear the voice or think of something, and our brains can't make sense of it. And so we push it aside. But that's our internal GPR. It's like it's our navigation to create this most amazing life. Life wants us to be happy.
It does.
Life wants us to be abundant. Life, it's like the whole thing with the manifestation, and everything's there for you. Everything's there. Right. We stop as achieving things, and once we start getting our we start leading from a different place rather than trying to figure it out in our heads.
Yes.
That's where the magic is, because it's guiding you to a better way of living.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think it's getting really clear on what you actually want. And that's a tough one, because a lot of people think they want one thing and they get to it and they don't.
Yes. Because they haven't gone really to the core of a lot of their healing still.
No. So many people I know of, clients have come to me and said, I've built this really successful business. I need to tear it down. I just can't run it I just can't run it anymore. And they've gone from very successful to go, I don't know what I do, but I just can't run it. So it's like, this is brilliant. It's like, this is awesome, because this is what you did with success. You've got success and achieve energy in you, because look, you did this. So all we're doing is we're just shifting. You don't have to burn it all down. You don't have
Yeah.
to burn it all down and start again, because you are you. So let's just redesign it from a different place, and
Yes.
let's run it in a different place. And that's almost kind of shape shifting, where you kind of, right, that program's run, right, you don't want to work with those guys. Okay, this is this big thing you want to
Yes.
teach. And it's kind of yielding that energy of their new energy, and going, that is your new business. Oh my God. Okay, this feels really good. Do you have to start it again? No, because you're a success already.
Yes.
And I just think there's so many people that are struggling right now, going, I'm going to close this business down. I'm going to leave corporate. I'm going to do this. And they need help in navigating that, because sometimes we can throw everything out, and we don't need to. We just need to, it's not a black or white, is it?
Yeah.
It's a reshuffle. It's working in a different energy. But yeah.
It's really interesting that you bring that up, though, Deborah. And I'm pretty sure that that's what you probably coach on. But I have
Yeah.
someone very close to me right now that's absolutely in that space. And she's like, every day when I talk to her, I hold my breath, because I really don't know if she's going to quit. But she knows it's so, like she was saying, I have a dream job. I make an amazing income and all this kind of stuff. But she's like, my job isn't fulfilling to me anymore. And
Yeah.
that I'm sharing that with the audience, that if you are in that position, or you're starting to feel like that, I mean, Deborah just shared with you guys that she does probably have some clients that she's working through, and it doesn't have to be so drastic where it's going to feel really like I came home and I quit, but it could be something you could talk through.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I call it 5D business design, because that's what I'm creating. It's business design in a different way. And so, the energy of what we've been working in can feel so draining and so done, that we get to that point where it hurts so much, and love must not hurt. And so we're like, I can't serve these people anymore. I can't do this. I can't. It's just, people will get to that point and they'll just walk away from it. And there's so much goodness. Especially in the coaching industry, these people have helped thousands. They've created a successful online business. It just needs realigning to the person you are now after this energy shift. That's all. And it might be retiring a program. It might be making that self-study. And so that's bringing in profit while we bridge. And I've been talking a lot about bridges, because sometimes we're kind of, I'm here and I don't want to do this, but I can feel this thing here. Okay, let's work on this thing here, but also let's provide this bridge. So you still feel successful. So you still bring in the money. And actually, when you get your energy around a bridge, it feels good.
Yeah.
Because you know why you're doing it. It's just a bridge.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
and I think sometimes we're not quite ready for that thing yet. There might be training, or there might be new skills, or it might be a new energy that we need to embody first before we teach it to others.
Yes.
And so there needs to be this kind of messy middle. But let's reframe that and let's create a bridge. Or there'll be people that are in business and they've just had a great successful business, it's brilliant, and then they'll just go, my marriage sucks, my marriage is not giving me everything. Okay, so now you need to switch to your marriage. Okay, so how can we make this business spacious and easy for you? While you go work on this. Work, we look at work as kind of putting it in a compartment, but actually it all intertwines, doesn't it, with play, with family, with work. We need to know when we need to work on something and where we need to put it down and work on something else.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It
is beautiful, the work that you've done, first and foremost, for taking the journey with your husband and your daughter. And then, of course, now revamping your life, that, like what you were saying, it doesn't have to be completely,
no, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, you don't have to rip it all down. But, if there's people out there now and they're like, I have just got to rip it down, you just need to navigate it in a way because so many people are throwing things away, and in a different energy they might loop back, and then they'll have thought about all that time when they felt not good. This is all about aligning you to feel really good, and then create from that place, create a better relationship, create a better business, create better friendships.
Yes.
But the deep work is so worth it, isn't it?
It is absolutely worth it. But let me ask you though, Deborah, because if I could talk to you I just want to let the audience know, Deborah and I kept going and going. And I think I had my next meeting, but let me ask you for this purposes, the audience has already heard so much of your story, and you're absolute delight to have on 8 billion. I shared this, and maybe this, I don't know if I've talked about this in other podcasts for this season. Many of you guys know that I have always had this vision of building a digital library of human consciousness. And that's what 8 billion is about. So we're going to see if we can achieve this, or it's already done, I should say, right? It's already done.
Already there. Just grab it and yield it.
Just grab it. Yeah. Now, if many generations in the future, and we are living in full 5D, and they look back in the library and they find Deborah O'Grady, and you had a message for them, what would be that one special message you would give to that person, maybe in the future, that could say that you could share something with them?
First and foremost, what's coming up for me is it's not your fault, which would not be a message. So if I feel into the energy, things happen to us in childhood, Go on, your face.
No, my face. If you're watching this, I was just thinking, I'm all like, she might actually be saying something to someone that might see this in the future.
Yeah, so I went into my head, and then it brought me back down, and I was like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault it's coming up. And we've got to trust those kind of things. So experiences that we're going through, it's not your fault. But actually, we need to live with love and not let those experiences, I guess, tarnish us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So live with love. Whatever happens to you, live with love. And that can be a really hard thing to say, because there's pretty awful things happening. Yeah. But to know that this is not, there's a bigger plan in place. There's things happening to people. I'm thinking about somebody right now who's had, really awful time, an awful childhood. But oh my God, look at her go with what she's doing and the good that she's doing in the world right now.
Absolutely. And that's what you guys are going to see in the future. There are going to be so many different things where people are going to recreate and rewrite the life that they want. And Deborah and I and all the other guests for season 5D are going to be at the fore, watching and guiding all those people. So Deborah, could you let the audience know if they'd love to do some work or learn more about your work, how would they be able to find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Deborah O'Grady. And that's Deborah O'Grady. And also Deborah O'Grady is my website. And we've got some 5DE business design packages and some awesome clarity and aligned sessions lined up, where this work is now really fast. This isn't big 6 month.
It is. It's quantum leaping fast, you guys. Yeah. So if you hear this and you definitely want to quantum leap in so many ways, I'm telling you, get with Deborah and you guys will start to see it, because she pulled up some crazy stuff for me when I first met her. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was insane.
I actually you guys might see it. I might throw some clips in there about it, but it had to do with the digital library.
It was crazy how clear it came through.
And then after that, she even sent me some photos. She's like, this is what it looks like. And I was like, that's kind of how I visioned it too. I was just needing to fully articulate it. And that's how interesting it works, like energy.
Yeah. So like imagine it. So that's using imagination energy. So it's basically understanding what the kind of, you see something, you feel something. I couldn't explain it. but then kind of started researching it on Google, and those pictures came up, and it was like, this is what came up for me. I don't even know the name. And that's when you really know that you're working from something other than your mind.
Exactly.
Because there are words that come up that you're like, I even don't know how to spell that word.
Yes.
I don't even use that word. Or, notice songs, like crazy songs will just start playing in my head. I'm like, I don't even like the Beatles. I've not even heard the Beatles. What does that song mean? And often
there
are lots of songs about love.
Songs. Yeah.
Loads of songs about love. Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, those are things you guys can look forward to, audience, when you do the work, or really when you tap into your intuition. But Deborah, thank you so much for being a part of this.
I've really enjoyed speaking to you. It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It is all my pleasure. And of course, you will always have a platform here if you ever have more messages or expanded vision on your business. But audience, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode with Deborah O'Grady. We will catch you on next week's episode. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the 8 Billion Podcast. If it's moved you in any way, please share your thoughts or give us a review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. To listen to more episodes, go to 8billionpodcast.com, or to learn more about our mission, go to 8billionproject.com.